So the way I got hit was they use pressure plates. So what happens is as a vehicle or a person walks and it hits this pressure plate, the bomb detonates.
Is a pressure plate the same thing as a mine?
Yeah.
Okay.
But these are like built by them, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So what they started figuring out is they knew the distance from that front tire to where that person standing out of that hatch, who they know is the highest ranking one, they knew the distance between them. So they would put the pressure plate up here and the explosives back behind. So realistically, we would drive right over the explosives.
Yeah.
And then it would be underneath like where I was standing. That's how it hit me. Is the pressure plate hit the front tire and explosives hit right underneath directly and opened up my vehicle like a can opener.
Jeez. Okay, so let's get into your injury specifically. So that's what happened to you.
Yeah.
What is that? Okay, so now we know how it happened, but I don't know, without trying to get you to relive anything, how does that, like, what happens? How does that feel? Like, what is going through your mind at that point?
Well, I was actually supposed to be going home. I was already packed up, ready to go because I had gotten there a little bit earlier than my guys. So I kind of was like, no, I'll go on this mission. No big deal. It's just, we're going to go out and do a night patrol in an area where we knew the Taliban had been kind of like at. It was near the Pakistani border, and there had been like IEDs and stuff. And so we were out there trying to, do our mission and do our job. And we were just out, just rolling around on a night ops and more just like a night patrol. Mm-hmm. And so I was the second vehicle in my squad. And so I remember us driving out, and it's open desert. This is basically open desert. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that.
Sure.
And I remember us going down into a ditch, a river ravine. And then the vehicle in front of me, he went up and out. He went to a little bit to the right. And then our tactics are to stay in each other's trails as we're moving. Because sure. The vehicle in front has rollers. Yeah. Because we knew that what they were doing is they were putting explosives out here, detonating here. So we had these rollers that put out pressure and they would roll. So if they did hit a roller, it would detonate in front of the vehicle and kind of just like lift it up and set it back down type of thing.
Yeah.
What happened was that because we went down in that ravine and bucked up out and the truck came down, my driver just got a little bit out of the tracks of the vehicle in front of us. And then there happened that the IED was sitting right there. And just like that, front tire hit the pressure plate, the explosive detonated directly underneath me and just opened the vehicle wide open. And so the way it worked for me is I didn't think I'd gotten hit. I was very good at finding IEDs. I have tons of videos of me finding bombs, blowing them up myself and stuff like that. I've been doing it for so long. And when it first happened, I remember just kind of like waking up and I didn't even know I was hit. I thought we had rolled our vehicle. Yeah. Because the last thing I remember is the vehicle was way up in the air. That's kind of like what I remember. Yeah. And I was like, fuck, we rolled our vehicle. And so I'm yelling at the guys to, kind of wake up. They were all unconscious. And then that's when I could start smelling the explosives.
Sure.
And I could tell my guys were out cold. I saw a lot of smoke happening. And, my commander and a whole vehicle had gotten hit by a massive pressure plate and the vehicle caught on fire and they died burning alive inside of it. Okay. So it was all a very scary thing for us after that. Well, I started screaming at my guys to wake up and get out of the truck. Sure. So they started waking up and they started getting out. And as they went to get out, I went to like move and to get out. And I realized my legs weren't working. And I just was like, fuck, my legs are blown off. And so I had my helmet light on and I took my glove off my hand. I'm like rubbing and I could feel my legs, but they weren't working. And I just remember like looking at my hand, I could just see all kinds of blood, dirt, battery acid.
When you, sorry to interrupt. When you say they weren't working, is it like a paralyzed feeling or were you just like in so much pain you couldn't move or what was?
I felt like paralyzed feeling. Like
you couldn't get them to do anything.
No. And so I'm sitting there like, fuck, I could feel them. I'm just like, they're just mangled. Yeah. And obviously I couldn't see what my legs looked like.
Sure.
So I remember then trying to reach up. We had these handles that were strapped to the ceiling of our vehicle. And I went to go try to grab a handle with this hand and this hand wasn't working. And so I was like, fuck. So I was like, trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to do. And then my guys realized like, hey, where's Sergeant Mitchell at? He's not.
Oh, they had woken up.
They were already out. They got out.
Oh, they got, okay.
Yeah, they started pulling security, getting everything out. Okay. And then all of a sudden I see, two of my soldiers run in the vehicle because it's a big hatch. And they run in, they see I'm just fucking trapped down by shit. And I'm like, yo, you guys, I can't fucking move. Yeah. So they turned their lights on and I could see the look on their face like I was fucked up, And one came behind me and grabbed me underneath and the other one grabbed me by my legs and they just kind of picked me up. And when they picked me up, I remember seeing my right leg just kind of free swinging around because I had dislocated my knee completely, fully.
Yeah.
And it was just swinging. And then my other leg was still there. It was just, you could just tell I was bleeding, and I was pretty bad. And then I had shrapnel because of the way it came through it. All the shrapnel went underneath my vest, and I got peppered basically.
Sure.
And then my arm was swelling very badly. So I had compartment syndrome in my arm. And so
what's compartment syndrome?
It's just when you have I guess it was just like internal swelling.
Okay.
Where the body starts. So my arm actually got like the size of my leg, and they had to cut me from here to here to relieve the pressure, or else I would have lost my arm. Right. Sure. And so I remember them just getting me out, bringing me around the vehicle, setting me on the ground. And that's kind of like, I was like, okay, how bad am I? My doc's like, you're pretty bad. We got to get you we got to get you out of here. And he just started working on me, giving me IVs, giving me morphine. And then, we waited for a chopper.
So, Casey, can I ask you, at that point, is the leg still intact?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was just mush, basically.
Yeah. When you say mush, like everything, like the bones are all broken and.
Yeah, it's just crushed. And so I had compartment syndrome on that leg as well. And so, so basically I'm sitting there, they're working on me. My driver, he had a severe brain injury, because he was in a hatch. And when the explosion went off, the pressure hit his head, hit the top of the hatch so hard that there was an indent in his Kevlar from the handle of the thing. So he had like some brain stuff going on. He lived. My whole vehicle lived. They put me, couple of my guys, they were not leaving. They got banged up pretty bad, but they just stayed, just hard ass dudes. And so my driver, we got medevaced out, and I was in and out. I was in and out for a while. And then I remember just kind of getting to the base. And as soon as we get to the base, I remember just getting ready to pull me out of the helicopter. I just remember just telling him, don't you fucking drop me, man. Cause I was in so much pain. I was like, don't fucking drop me. And no, next thing you know, I'm inside the hospital, and then I'm talking to some people, and the sec def at the time, Admiral Mullen, he kind of came in, cause I had met him a bunch of times, and he had seen that I had heard that I was hit, and came in and kind of seen me and stuff like that. And then next thing you know, I was just in a long road to trying to stay alive, basically.
So so it wasn't just your leg, like were they worried that you might die? Like,
yeah. They were, when I got to Germany, they were almost going to fly my family out because I didn't know if I was going to make it or not. Jeez. When they were about to fly my family, because they didn't know I had severe blood clotting going on. Yeah. I went unstable when I went from Kandahar to I think it was Kandahar. I was getting ready to fly out, and then I got stopped in Bagram because I went unstable, so they had to stabilize me in Bagram, and then from Bagram to Germany, they got me there, and then in Germany I was just a mess. I had severe blood clotting going on. They couldn't put a PICC line in me because I would just clot, and so they didn't know. They didn't really know how things were gonna go for me. And then I remember quite a bit of stuff, man. I remember waking up at one point in an airplane and just asking for some water. And I remember just kind of I can vividly remember just seeing a bunch of beds with soldiers stacked like cots.
Yeah.
And, and I remember just this red light,
that's in the plane.
In the airplane. Yeah. Flying. I remember that. And then I remember being transported once I landed in Washington, D.C. at Walter Reed. They were transporting a few of us on an ambulance, kind of like a transport ambulance. I remember seeing this girl. She had her leg blown off, and she was sitting there, and I remember trying to tell her hey, it's going to be okay, and trying to just talk to her a little bit. And then I remember just going through these big entrance doors of the hospital and just seeing all these all the state flags and everything, and all the medical personnel there that are there to welcome us and let us know just kind of try to keep. And then after that, I don't remember anything. I was in ICU for a few months.
Yeah.
And then but
so. At what point during that stretch, so we'll fast forward, at what point do they wake you up and go, hey, we're going to have to amputate your leg?
So I voluntarily amputated my leg.
Can you explain how that happened?
So basically my leg was so badly damaged. They were trying to save it. It was limb salvage at the time. I had this big halo around my leg. I had all these pins going in it to try to save the bone, get the bones to kind of get back together. There was a couple of options. They said that I could keep my leg, but they're going to do all these fusions and all these things. And, my mobility isn't going to be very good, but I'll have my leg. Potentially down the road, I could have to have more surgeries or even the possibility of an amputation. There was so much negative about it. And what was crazy is like, when I was going through my rehabilitation, I would go down to the amputee ward. That's where I would do my rehab at. And it was all the guys that were in there with amputees, missing one leg, missing both legs. I mean, there was guys in there missing every limb. They would get moved, like they got literally moved around with the bed sheet. That's how they got around.
Jesus. Yeah.
Sad to see. And people don't even realize like what's going on in there. And and I was down in there and I'm just like watching some of these amputees that have been there recovering for a little bit now. And I'm just like, man, they're fucking getting it. Like they're moving, they're doing shit, and I just kind of got to a place where I was obviously the guy in the ward with the leg still, everybody, so they kind of made fun of me and stuff like that. All soldiers fuck around. Yeah. It's kind of like having a leg. You're like the misfit, man. Like you don't even belong here type of thing,
Yeah.
So, yeah. But honestly, it just, I just knew my baby was going to be walking soon. I wanted to be like the dad that was there with her, taking her first steps. And I'm like, I can't even fucking walk, and that sucked.
Yeah.
So I just made the decision to say, hey, I want to just amputate this leg and work and get better and potentially hopefully have more mobility than I could and not be in so much pain anymore.
Yeah.
And so I went and talked to the doctor. He said, okay, that's your choice. You're obviously with this injury, you're able to make that choice, but you have to see, I had to see like 3 different psychiatrists to make sure I'm mentally making the right decision.
Sure.
Talk to my family about it. And then I just decided to go ahead and do it and went through with it. And I remember, I think it was like less than 24 hours after the amputation of my leg, I felt 100 times better. You
felt how better mentally or physically?
Mentally and physically. I just felt like all the pain had been cut off me, literally. And I mean, I was just moving around. I was just more like, okay, now I get to recover. Now I get to kind of finally, okay, now the recovery really starts, Sure. And then I was in a race to, beat my daughter to walking,
Yeah.
Taking her steps. Yeah. So that was just kind of like the goal of mine at the time was, okay, I want to get as healthy as I can, as fast as I can to like make sure that when my daughter takes her first steps, I get to take those steps with her.
Yeah.
And that was the goal. And that's what ended up happening, and,
hey guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, share with your friends, and like the video. And if you get a chance, check out the description for all the different links to all the different places you can find Hostile and myself. And lastly, check out hostile.com for our new line of supplements and all of our apparel and gear. Thanks again for watching.